They must not know I love trips to Vegas. The underdog became the underrated. In my city, I'm paraded. Confetti dropping when I'm home. I'm floating down Tudor, floating on strong. Had so many rights they couldn't tell us we was wrong. Lamar Middle School, we was on. I got this lion heart in my chest. I'm one of the best. They ask about him, they gon' bring up success. See, I've been fighting this stress. You ain't right, you get left. I'm good with my left, so I don't argue with refs. Cause just like EA, I'm in the game.
Hey guys, it's Rob with We Give 110 here again, and it is Expert Tuesday, right? So we have Sean Olson here from Equibala, from equibala.com or Equibala on your Facebook. You can reach out there and find out lots of information about mindset, health, food, all those wonderful things that make your world go round. And today is episode 10 with Sean, and that will bring us to the end of our season, as we like to call it. So 10th episode, got something cooking on the background. What do we got today, Sean?
All right, so today is kind of like the culmination. So we started out this series of episodes with kind of the overview of what Equibala is and what is included within that. And so if you haven't had a chance to watch the previous episodes, go all the way back to the very first one. We're breaking down what's involved in there. We're telling you about the free offers of things that are included for you to get started without actually having to come out with any money on this. If it's something that you want to commit to, there is a package that you can purchase. But the whole program is broken down into several episodes over the last 10 weeks where we're giving you the in-depth concepts that actually make it successful. Because guys, at the end of the day, what we're talking about is becoming a different version of who you are now and being something different in the future. That's how change works. And so if you want to take from where you are to where you want to be, it's not just getting information. You can get all the information in the world, but if you never apply it consistently, then you will never get to where you want to be. So today's episode is about how success requires sacrifice. Now, this is kind of the scary reality of this, is what you are doing currently cannot continue to be done and get something else as a result. You have to change if you want change. Now, that sounds really simplistic and stupid, but what that means is you have to stop doing things that you're currently doing if you want to have something else that you don't currently have. And so if you're looking to improve your health, that's what my program is about. Equibala.com was designed specifically for people who work from home, who are overweight, out of shape, and need something that they can do consistently and follow that will take them from this out of shape state to implementing daily activities that will get them to a sustainable and healthy lifestyle. Guys, lifestyle, not tomorrow style, not next week style. It's life. We have to be healthy for our entire lives, and so we have to develop things that we can continue to do for years. Not just what can I sprint off and drop 10 pounds because I got an event I'm going to. That's right. Okay. That's motivation to kickstart, but things that you're going to continue to do for a year or 2 or 5 or 10, that is a lifestyle. So this is where we start to look at the bigger picture of things, of what am I really doing consistently over the long term? And this is where that sacrifice comes in, is we have to understand that there is a balance that must be kept in order to do this long term. Okay, when we do sprint events, when we say, I'm going to go on the next 30 days and I'm going to have a really calorie restrictive diet and I'm going to work out real hard and I'm going to put alarms for all of my sleep cycles and I've got everything on point and I'm really like overly focused on this thing. In order to do that, you have to take your focus away from other stuff. You can't have everything be your main focus. So if you're going to do a sprint for the next 30 days And you're going to have a whole bunch of things that are in your face with working out consistently and getting your meals on point, and you got your accountability partner, and you're going for your walks, and you're doing your sleep, and you got your recovery, and I got my massage schedule, like all these things. It's also really difficult to improve relationships and make money and play with your kids and, build a business and like do all these things, right? You can still manage them somewhat, but you have to take those away from being the priority focus. And so there is a sacrifice that must be made in order to achieve big things. If you want small success, yeah, you can spread that across lots of categories. But if you want something major to change in your world, it requires major attention. But here's the good part, and this is where the balance comes in, is that focused prioritization in your attention only has to come for about 30 to 60 days until you create a habit. Until you create the routine of this just being part of how you do stuff. And as you get comfortable and you have automated things that you just do over and over because this is how you've done them, then your focus goes away from it. It still can happen, but you don't have to consciously pay attention. When you first started driving the car, you could get in and you were scared and you knew every little detail of what was going on. But after driving for 5 or 10 years, you can go all the way across town. You don't even pay attention, right? Because we've done it over and over and over. We've developed that automated response. So this is the same for any change. So this is the magic part, is just pick one area. I'm going to help you with health. Specifically, if you work from home, it's very, very easy. But even if you don't work from home, your health is the same. You don't get healthier because you work from home or not. Okay, so some of the steps may shift a little bit, and I have a couple of adjustments that make the same process work for just about anybody. But the point is you got to put a dedicated focus into something for a short period of time until you establish the routine.
Yeah.
And then once that is successful and it's something you can continue to do regularly, day in, day out, without a lot of thought, because it's just how you do it now, then you can move to the next major area of focus. So dedicate yourself for a short sprint, but then we're going to settle into something that continues to happen without that focus, because then we get something else as our main priority. And we can continue building our world better one area at a time. But if you try to tackle improving your entire life all at once, you're going to fail. You can't do that many things all at once. And again, we get so hyped up in like how long it takes us to do stuff. Tony Robbins is amazing for this saying, is we overestimate what we can do in a year, but we underestimate what we can do in a decade. How many of you think you're going to live another 10 years? I got many 10 years ahead of me. They call them decades, right? So like I got several decades ahead of me. I'm about 40 years old. Not quite, but rounding for round numbers, like, man, I plan to live another 40, 50 years. So the stuff that I do today or tomorrow or the next day or next week or next month, holy crap, I still have another 40 or 50 years down the road. You know what I mean? So we really have to plan for what is it that we're going to do for the rest of our lives, not what am I going to do tomorrow. But what we do tomorrow develops what we do the next day and the next day and the next day. And as long as you put together a structure that you can follow and dedicate yourself to consistently for a short period of time to develop the habit by excluding the other things. Okay, this is the focus on what am I going to build, but this is also what am I going to remove that is negating me. Because guys, at the end of the day, you don't need to lose weight. You need to change the actions that caused you to gain weight. That's what it comes down to. So we're not focused on what is the result. It's what is the cause. If I go out in my yard and I see the dandelions and I walk up and I pick off the top of the dandelion, it will regrow. Because the cause of the dandelion is the root. It's not the top of it. The top is the effect. Okay, so when we lose weight, the effect is because we get to the cause. The cause is the things that you do that are causing you to gain weight. It's usually not enough activity. It's not the right food.
And talking just about that is one of the big changes that I've had to make. And and I made it when I said I'm going to do this 90-day challenge and going through all this stuff. Was eliminating TV. TV was one of my bad habits.
It's a trigger.
It was one of those things. I mean, I've been a little kid. My mom, I love her to death, but like she was running a daycare at home when I was a kid, and she was always taking care of lots of kids, and then I would just come home. I was like 5, 6 years older than the kids that she was taking care of.
Yeah.
And it was just easy for me to just watch TV, in another room while she was doing whatever, And in Canada, in the winter, it just became
That's
a
the only
habit.
thing you can do.
You can go out and play in the snow, but most people don't,
Right. Exactly.
right? And, we just stayed inside and I watched TV, and that turned into, doing that for years. And then that became a habit. I would skip out on homework. I would skip out on, I just started watching TV, and now I'm like, 46 going on 47, and I've turned it off. Like, it's taken me that long to break that habit. I've tried doing it many times through my life, but sitting down is the new smoking kind of idea,
Sure.
television, I would sit there and watch, like, a lot of us, and I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. People do it to blow off steam and all that stuff. But for me, I know that I would be one of those people, man. Netflix became my best friend. I'd watch seasons of multiple shows, maybe in one day, it was like, oh, wow, I finished work. Click. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go grab something to eat. Watch this episode. Watch another. And that became that binge watching was my new binge eating.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
And then that led to sleep deprivation because I would be sleeping more, like I would be watching versus sleeping. And this adds into weight gain, and this adds, so there are lots of habits out there. So one of my big ones was television, and I had to make that change, and I had to plan for the rest of my life. So, being in Korea, it's not as bad because the television's mostly in Korean. I do understand a lot of it, but there are English channels, but I just don't go and turn on the television. I have to mentally say no, don't turn it on.
Yes.
My wife, she sleeps with the television on. She likes having that background noise, and we talked about that in one of our previous episodes about how to sleep. And actually, we've actually had a lot of comments on that one.
Oh, good.
So if you haven't seen that, go see it. Even Carrie's mom bugs him about it. Got to go watch that one because he wasn't there that day. So we had that talk, but that sleep deprivation would happen to me. I would go in there and I'd start watching Korean television because it was on. Right? Yeah. I had Netflix. I turned it off, and I missed the day, so I had to wait a whole month for it to go off. Because I missed the payment day, I was like, I'm gonna turn it off, and it was like, then I checked my bank account. It was like they charged me the day before, so I had 30 days. And you know what? It probably took me 2 weeks, to finally just push it off. This weekend, mother-in-law was here, totally screwed up my sleeping. I was bored. I almost renewed Netflix to have it back on.
Oh no!
So that I could watch it while I could put on a Korean drama for her, and then she could just watch it with me or whatever like that. And I was like, no, because I know that if I do it once, I'm going to start watching all this stuff.
Yes,
and I just said no. And that's that change, that sacrifice. It's such a big thing for me. I've seen. Basically, almost like I can say this because I was keeping track for a long time. Was like I watched with almost every movie there was since 1980. I want to say 1985, 86. We got the Super Channel, which was like the movie channel in Canada. And we just started watching all the movies, everything like that. I watched basically almost every movie when I was in Korea. Like when I first came to Korea, I just started downloading all the movies and watching the movies. There were people bootlegging them on the sides of the streets. I had a huge movie collection. Yeah. I just watched every movie there was. And I can actually remember my wife still says, "Have you seen this movie?" And I'm like, "Yep."
Of course.
I'm probably like, before the movies ever hit TV, it's like I've already seen it.
Yeah.
And now it's now it becomes a realization. Yeah, I love movies, I love television, but it was just a hell of a lot of time sitting in front of doing nothing.
Yes. And so what you're describing though, that is exactly the individualization that is required for long-term success. Is you have to have this period of analysis. What are the things that are causing me to gain weight? And it's not TV. You
No.
do not get fat because you watch a show. You gain weight because of the activities that watching
Yeah.
the show triggers. It's the triggering of the routines that you develop, because in the past, when I watched it, I was told that when you watch a movie, you're supposed to have popcorn and snacks. This is why when people go to the movie theater, they can be on a diet, but they will go in there and get the biggest popcorn possible and spend $7 on a box of chocolate and eat the whole thing before the movie even starts and not think twice about it. Whoa, what the hell? That's not how you normally do things, but because this was an environment where this is how I've done it in the past. Maybe you have changed your routines for the rest of your life, but because you only go to the movies every 2 or 3 years, that environmental trigger is something that allowed you to change the way you made choices around the things that cause you to gain weight. And that's what it really comes down to. Is I can't break that down for you. Okay, I can show you the right kinds of foods and when to eat them and what you should do with your body and how often and the amounts of water that you may need and the recommended sleep schedules and the base things that a body needs. But in order for someone to individually become successful, it takes you looking at the actual things in your world and being honest with yourself. And this is the hardest part, is self-analysis shows us our faults.
Oh
And if
God, yeah.
we're not okay exposing our faults even to ourselves, then we will never allow ourselves to make the correct choices to correct those faults. And so let it be okay to fail. Let it be okay to tell yourself that, damn, I have spent way too much time watching TV. Like, Rob, I got to tell you, that's an extreme case of the movie binging and the Netflixing, but that's not how it started. You started out, like you said, back as a kid, dude, and you developed this habit, and it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and this became part of your lifestyle, right? And so what I'm doing is I'm giving people the steps to get going, and then you will automatically add to it, and it will become a bigger and bigger and bigger thing without anybody having to direct you. Nobody took you down a course of how to become a Netflix binger. Right? You learn how to implement that structure yourself.
I'm a genius.
Look at you go, Rob. You got it nailed down. So that's the real magic, guys, is identifying those areas that you gotta sacrifice. If you know that having donuts at your house will trigger you to eat them, don't buy the donuts. Okay, you cannot eat donuts you don't have. And we've gone down the rabbit hole of donuts many times, but it's an easy food to understand that, like, there's no value in it. There's nothing positive in eating a donut other than the moment that you eat it, it feels good. Okay, and I said this once before in a previous episode. I don't remember which one it was, so you'll have to go back and watch all of them. But you can either feel good about the activity or you can feel good during the activity. Very rarely do we have both. Sometimes if you get really good at accepting the value that comes from putting in positive efforts and getting positive results, then you can feel good about the activity that's going to make you also feel good about it. But during the activity, most of the time the good feeling comes from something negative. Right? This is why we smoke and drink and eat bad food and do all the things that are really not that good for us, and we know they're not, but they feel good in the moment. Here's my magic trick to overcome that. Realizing that you probably will not remember that feeling for very long. Usually by the next day. Because if I asked you today, tell me every food you ate yesterday, you probably can't. because sometimes there's little snacks and there's other pieces you add in there and whatever. And we have multiple meals and whatever. And I'm talking about one day.
Yep.
If you can't remember yesterday, damn sure you can't remember the day before that, or the day before that. And we're not even a week ago. How many weeks have you been eating in your life? Okay, so we have to realize that the things that we do now will give us the result later. But if we're not going to remember the impact of what happens right now, whether it's positive or negative now, whether we feel like we're sacrificing something or we get this momentary bliss of whether we ate the donut or not, the result that we get later is going to be the only thing that we remember. Guaranteed. So if you gain weight because you consistently allow that donut to be eaten, dang, you're going to feel real bad later. And it is a consistent feeling. But if you consistently don't eat the donut because you don't buy them, later on you're going to be in better shape and you get that consistent good feeling for a long time. So
I want to put something on that as well. I mean,
sure.
One of the hardest things for people to get over is a sugar addiction. Like it's so true. And so I've been fighting. I fought with that. We talked about the donut and stuff like that. Now my wife and my mother-in-law, when we went shopping, they bought some donuts. I haven't touched them. I'm a good boy.
Good job.
Right. But one of the things is that I realized when we were shopping, the choices they were making were not based off of how they were going to feel. They were walking through going, I know what that taste is, and I want to have it again. And
I feel good right now because
exactly,
it's reminding me about that flavor.
Right. So she bought croissants, but she didn't just buy croissants. She bought croissants with like the Castilian custard inside them because she knew that's what she wanted.
Yeah,
because like I introduced it to her a long time ago, right?
Beautiful.
And then she was like, "Oh my god, this is so awesome!" And they just happened to have them there, and so immediately she grabbed them, put them in the cart. There was no thought process in it. It was just, I know what that is. I enjoyed that. Put it in the cart, right. And by the end, we had a whole bunch of these snacks and little things that they just wanted to eat. And when we got to the cookie aisle, now cookies are my weakness.
That's your.
We walked through, and she was pointing out cookies, and I was like, "No." And by the time we hit the end of the aisle, I had changed her mind about what was in the cart. I didn't have to do it verbally. I didn't have to point out something. It was just me saying no to the things that I always said yes to. And then she started looking at what she picked out going down there. And then she picked it out of the cart. Now, she didn't get rid of everything, but it was a start for her because she's struggling with her weight as well. Right?
Yes.
You know, she's now in her mid or late 30s. You know, and, you know, it's not as easy to lose the weight for her. Right?
Definitely.
Her thing for me, it's television. For her, it's like cell phone games, right?
Okay.
Right. So she'll sit there playing cell phone games because it's like that opiate reaction of like, hey, I succeeded, and I got another level. Oh yeah, I got another level. Oh yeah. Right. So, you know, that's just that same thing. But I talk to her about this stuff, and she doesn't realize it. But when I actually put it into practice, and I want to make my life better, and I want to plan for the rest of my life and try to get to a better place, and then she sees that, then she starts taking that into consideration. And I know, Sean, you had the same situation where you missed out on going for a walk, or you were late for going for a walk, and then your daughter walked in and say, "Hey, Dad, aren't you going for your walk?"
Right.
Right. It's not like a cascade or like a domino effect, but people start realizing what you're doing. And they see your success, and then they want to emulate it, and that's how you can not just change your own life, but change the life of the people of your family or your friends around you. Some won't take to it, you know. Some just won't take to it. Some will be like, "Oh, well, why is he doing that? Oh, okay, And you don't have to like make a big long speech about it like I just did, but like just going through with the action and then seeing that you're actually doing it and making it a repetitive part of your process is great. I mean,
Yes.
if you look at my fridge now versus like, I think it was 30 days ago, 60 days ago, it's a totally different refrigerator.
Good.
And people don't realize that. And that's that planning for the rest of your life, not your day, right?
Yes. Long term.
Recognizing the things that are making you happy. I could have went down the street, got myself Pepsi. I could have got myself stuff because I felt that I wanted that, but I did.
Yep.
It's amazing how far people will go to get something that will make them feel good for that moment. I mean, I know people are all guilty. How many people in Canada have a car? They hop in their car, they drive down, the street 20, 30 minutes to get to like the corner store so they can buy a cola. And then they're in there and then they buy the chips, they buy all these other things that are nice and colorfully labeled. Sure. Right?
Yeah.
Marketing does work, people. It does. If you need help, talk to me or Sean. But it plays into that once again. It's that emotional feeling, that high, that happy feeling, and all that stuff. That they get in there, they buy the stuff. You go up to the counter, you grab the extra chocolate bar, and then you get back in the car and you drive back to your house 10, 15 minutes. Now, if you actually walk there, if you actually put the idea in your head that if I had to walk there, would I buy it? Most people will say, hell no, I'm not walking that far to get it. But because we've allowed technology to make it easier for us to get a lot of these things that trip our triggers in our head, it's a losing battle. And you have to, like, mentally fight it.
Yes, 100%.
Mentally fight it.
And you mentioned several things. Holy crap. So number one is you influence the people around you by your choices automatically, even if they don't know what the hell you're doing. You don't even have to explain to someone that I'm eating healthy or whatever. Your actions will always speak louder than words. And you cannot stop the influence on the people around you. And so you walking down that aisle and saying, no, 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 they're like, whoa, this guy's like actually serious. He really doesn't want cookies. It's not like a little kid where you ask them 3 times and they finally give in because they're tired of you asking. It's like, no, I actually made a choice already. And I know you don't understand my game, and that's okay. But the 4th time you ask me about cookies and I say, no, I am good, I don't need the cookies, it starts to make you look at yourself and like, why am I pushing the cookies? I'm just used to this dude eating cookies and now he's not. So you're having to have them change. And it's uncomfortable at first for them because they're like, whoa, this was the cookie monster. And now he's like, holy crap.
Why aren't we buying a pizza on pizza night? Why aren't we? Yeah, like it becomes an uncomfortable situation for them because they don't know how to deal with it.
Sure. So I'm proud of you, number one, for doing that. But number two, once you start the momentum, this is the magic, okay? You couldn't have done that 30 or 60 days ago when you started this. You would not have walked down the cookie aisle and been asked 4 times and said no every time. After 1 or 2, you'd be like, okay, just this time the cookies aren't going to hurt because you hadn't developed that routine of not having cookies for long enough. But now, like I said, you've just reinforced everything I've been talking about, that 30 to 60-day cycle. Some people are longer. Some people, can get it done a little bit quicker. But that development of the automated response, your automated response is getting strong enough now where you can consciously overcome that. You can say, yes, I am going to stick with what my previous choice was, which was not to eat cookies. I don't need them. I don't need cookies. They don't actually help me ever. They only give me that long-term bad feeling. In the moment, they taste okay. Like, if you don't have cookies for a long time and then you eat one, it's like, oh, this actually isn't really all that good. There's a lot better stuff. Cookies are okay, but if you're really going to cheat on the sugar thing, like, dude, get yourself some decadent cheesecake or something perfect, right? And again, when it's that once in a while, you learn to really savor that flavor. So if it's like, man, the one thing I'm gonna cheat on is some dry old crunchy cookie, you gotta be kidding me, man. And so you kind of start to develop a whole different thought process about how you make the decisions about the in the moments. And that's what it comes down to is we only ever exist in the moment. We make one decision at a time. Every time you got asked about the cookie, nope. I'm sacrificing that cookie for a better health. Hey, here's another cookie. What about that one? Nope. Okay, keep walking. How about this one? Nope. The problem is, guys, and here's the thing that's scary, they will never stop offering you cookies.
No, they never will.
There's no shortage.
Everywhere you go, there's going to be some sweet something like
Yes.
going to like I haven't cut out like I've cut out probably I'd probably say 90% of the fast food, by just like I said, my refrigerator has totally changed. Now, am I making the same similar foods? Yes, but I've made healthier choices in what's being made. Like I'm making it with like the raw materials, not the processed materials, and that does make a big difference, I've found.
Yes.
But when I did go to like the store, we got a comment here. Who's got a comment here? Oh, Peter again. Hi, Peter. So one of the big things was that we went shopping at a place called Daiso. It's a kind of like a high-end dollar store type thing, and we were just buying lots of little things for the house, and all these little things for my wife's business, and just the things like batteries and stuff like that,
Sure.
little things like that. And we were far away from our house, and my mother-in-law was like, "Oh, I need to eat to take my medicine," and we're like, "Okay, so let's grab something to eat." And of course, there just happened to be a McDonald's there. We hadn't had McDonald's in a long time because there's no McDonald's in our area, or McDonald's doesn't deliver to our area either. So we were like, "Oh, let's go there." And we went in and we got, ordered a Big Mac, got water instead of cola, it started making those different changes. Just got the burger. Didn't get the fries because I know that was just empty, just make you feel good kind of stuff. Yeah. But then I ate the burger and I was like, this is absolutely disgusting.
Yes.
I was like, it's gross. I mean, how did I like this before? And I ordered it the same way. I ordered it exactly the same way I would always order my Big Mac, which was like half lettuce, extra sauce, extra pickles. That's my style. And I was like, okay, so I got that. I was like, this is gross. And then my wife was saying the same thing.
Yeah.
She was just like, we haven't had this in such a long time. It's not right.
Yeah.
And we know McDonald's food is safe to eat. We know that there is some nutritional value there. We do know that, but it was just presented in a totally different way when we've been making burgers and just like hamburger steak, type things at home with just straight up hamburger, not processed stuff.
Yeah.
All that other one.
Yes.
It's gonna make a big change in your life if you make the steps and you take those steps and move forward. I have to say thank you, Sean, for all these tidbits of wisdom that you've passed on, and I have tried to apply to a lot of them. I won't say I got all of them in, but it's a process.
It is.
And it takes some time for some things. Fitness is always going to be like a weak point for me. I think I used to be very active, started getting active again, falls off, goes on.
That's how everyone works. So I'm gonna tell you some secrets. So don't tell anybody except for anyone listening to this.
Oh, it's secret time, everybody!
So here's
your notepad. Get out your pen.
Number one, no one is perfect all the time. I don't care who it is. No one is perfect all the time. You will have up and down cycles in all of it. Okay? Number two, if you've ever gone to a doctor, the doctors don't proclaim that I am perfect or that I know everything about medical anything. Their entire career is practice.
Practice. Yeah.
Okay? And so practice does not make perfect. Practice makes progress. And this is what we're looking for, is we continue to practice so the progress gets easier to make. There is no end point. The finish line moves all the time. As soon as we take a step, we can see farther. There is no end. The earth is round kind of thing, right? So if you keep walking, you just keep walking.
Spoiler for all you flat earthers.
Yeah, I'm sorry I ruined it, but the point.
But you can't walk around the circumference.
Yeah, no, it's a little tough that way. But the point is, like, you can't give yourself this mindset that it's always going to be exactly perfect, and this is part of the balance. Okay, so we have to understand the balance of focus and intentional categories. If I'm going to get really into my fitness routine and my lifestyle structure around my health, it's going to take me 60 days of pretty dedicated focus to change the how I normally do most of the time. Nobody's perfect, but the most of the time is what it really comes down to. So I have cheat meals scheduled into the structure. I tell you to cheat on purpose. It gives you that mental reprieve and the celebration for that consistent awesomeness that I was on point with my stuff. I got the thing done, but I don't feel like I'm sacrificing everything forever, because no one's going to be perfect all the time. And if you never reward yourself with anything that you actually like, then you're just going to fall off and binge and do the thing because you're like, oh, it's just never worth it. I'm always having to be exactly what I have to do. No, you have to reward yourself and work on the fulfillment side. What makes you feel good? If you do that sometimes, it's not going to ruin your progress. It will slow your momentum, but not enough to revert. Okay, and that's what it really comes down to, is the most of the time operates from an automated response. So if you're conscious focus, once in a while, you get the cheesecake instead of the donut, because cheesecake is way better than, donuts or cookies, right? Like, get something really awesome.
You even start making better choices for your cheat days.
Well, and what goes into it? Absolutely, there are better.
Yeah,
there are
after
better
time,
choices.
you just as you go through it, like, you're gonna go, okay, this is my cheat day. What am I gonna eat? And then you start thinking about it, and then you're still going to buy something that's not going to be super good for you, but you make a better choice.
Sure.
Because subconsciously you've already made that change. Right?
Exactly. And the thing for us, and this kind of breaks it down numerically so people understand kind of what this comes down to, is what I recommend in my system is a cheat meal, not a cheat day, not a whole day to eat whatever you want, like whatever. That's 1/7 of your week. That's a lot. But if you eat 3 meals a day times 7 days, that's 21 meals throughout the week. So each meal is about 5%. So if you go in and you have one meal where you fall off the wagon and eat something in the moment delicious that isn't really all that good for you and it's not part of your nutrition plan, but you're celebrating the other 20 meals throughout the week that were freaking on point, and you did your workouts and you got your water in and you slept right and you did all the other things the most of the time, that 5% that you purposely schedule in to not be the exception, holy crap, you can enjoy the hell out of that moment. It has minimal impact on what it is that you're actually doing in the big term, and it gives you that thing to look forward to on a regular basis. That looking forward to how awesome your body is going to be by exercising and eating right and sleeping and drinking water, doing all the things. It's because of what we see as possible. What that possibility looks like. That acquisition is not even that exciting because it happens so slow that we don't really notice it. If you lose 3 pounds, you can't really tell unless you get on the scale and there's a visual. Like, if you lose 10 or 20 pounds, yeah, you're going to be able to tell, but you don't do that in a day, so you don't notice it right away. So the acquisition is not the excitement. It's the possibility that if I start today and I don't eat the donut and I do the exercise and I get the sleep, that in 2 or 3 weeks I can have lost that 10 pounds or 20 pounds or whatever it may be. That's what excites us enough right now to make the good choice. And the good choice now and the good choice tomorrow and the good choice the next day is what leads to that eventual success. The actual success is not really going to be the thing that excites us, because by the time we get there, we're just like, oh, this is just how I am now. It's not that big of a change that you notice where you're like, oh, I just opened this present and I had no idea this awesome body was here. It doesn't work like that.
That'd be awesome if it did.
That would be super cool. Like, people would definitely be looking forward to that sort of a lot more and making it happen. But yeah, guys, that's really what it comes down to is sacrificing the right now entertainment. That's what it really comes down to. Is it's a momentary entertainment. We're getting ourselves excited in the moment. We got to sacrifice some of that, most of it really, and put together a structure of making decisions based around what we know or what we really believe is going to take us in the direction that we want to go. And once in a while, we can schedule something that isn't on track with that plan that allows us to feel good in the moment, and it will have such small impact that it won't derail our success. And this develops that routine that we can carry with us long term to stay healthy and not have the ups and downs be huge mountains and valleys because we're gaining 50 pounds and then we crash diet and we lose 30 of it and then we gain another 50 and then this huge up and down. 5 or 10 pounds, it's not really that big of a deal. It's not that big of an impact. You lose 5 pounds or you gain 5 pounds, you can't really tell unless you get on the scale and look at it. Maybe you feel a little bit tighter in your clothes, maybe. But that eventual up and down allows you to get okay and get used to that sacrifice in the moment that no longer will feel like sacrifice after about 30 to 60 days because it just becomes the new way. So then you reframe.
That's the whole thing, is like a lot of people don't realize it. Like, it's been about 60 days, I think, right? Yeah, about 60 days since we started these. And It's like, because it's been 2 months, yeah. So it's about 2 months, yeah. And the changes, physically, not a lot of change up here, but I mean, on other parts of my body, like, it's not like I'm not carrying as much weight. I've only lost like 10 pounds, but that's 10 pounds that I didn't have at the start.
Well,
I had it at the start, but now I don't, and that's a good thing. But it's also the changes that have happened and the choices that I've made, and the stuff will happen over those times. And that's the thing. Like, a lot of people are looking for this dramatic change over 90, 60 days, and they got to realize that it's going to take longer than that to be healthy about it. If you want to crash diet, go ahead, but you're going to get it back because you haven't really addressed the issues. You know?
Exactly. So, yeah, so full circle, guys. Today is sort of the culmination of the last 10 episodes. This is episode 10, but the success requires sacrifice, because what got you here will not get you there. And that's a title of a book I don't know who wrote, so you can go look that up somewhere on Amazon and read the thing. But the concept is whatever steps you've been taking that got you to where you are currently cannot continue to be taken if you want something different than what you have already. If you're happy with where you are now in your health and fitness, it's probably because you already have a structure that you're following that got you to a good place of health. Very few people do I ever meet that are unhealthy are happy with where they are in their health. They're at least willing to admit that, yes, I'm not as healthy as I would like to be. So if you want to be healthier than where you are today, then you can head to equibala.com. There's a free workout. There's a free meal plan. There's a free mindset reset structure that can get you started. And if you need additional help, there is a full program there that you can take advantage of, that I walk you through all of the pieces. I show you how to do the workouts. I show you which foods you should be eating, when to develop the structures, how to make sure that you don't forget your workouts, how to make sure you're getting the right kind of sleep at the right amount of times, how to put together a regular movement piece into your daily routines. All of this is designed for you so that you can develop this long-term restructuring, the revisualization of not only where you want to go, but what are the steps that I need to do right now, today, the rest of the week, the month, the year, the next decade, that I can continue to follow to get myself to that place where I can be one of those people that finally says, yes, I'm happy with where my health is. I don't need to actually change anymore, and I can put my focus into something else. All right. So hopefully that doesn't take very much longer than 30 to 60 days. That's usually the commitment time frame. Beyond that, it's just a repetition. There's not really a lot of commitment that comes after that. You have to just keep reminding yourself, but a reminder is not a renewal of commitment. It's so much easier to do. It's just a little tweak all the time. So it's that little up and down, okay? Oh, yeah, I fell off a little bit. I'm going to get right back on track. Oh, I fell off a little bit. I'm going to get right back on track. That's how it really works. But if you don't have the structure to come right back to as the good way that you normally do things, that's when you get the big up and downs. Because I fall off because I don't really have anything that's going to allow me to sustain long term. And then I'm going to gain a whole bunch of weight because I don't know what I'm doing. And then I'm going to starve myself and go on some trendy new thing or whatever. And then I'm going to kill myself in the, running around my block 75 times a day and, whatever. I've seen some crazy stuff in my day. As a personal trainer, as a coach of all different sorts, I have seen people do insane stuff for the short-term sprint, and the result lasts a very short period of time. So if you guys are looking for short-term success, feel good about it in the moment. Eat the donut and sit on your butt and watch as much Netflix as Rob tried to, right? Like, see if you can beat his record. That is guaranteeing that you're not going to get where you want to be. Right? But if you really want to have some success in your world, it takes some sacrifice of the momentary bliss that you're probably not going to remember by tomorrow anyways. And that if you want that long-term result of happiness, we got to make some sacrifices and do the things that we know are going to get us to that long-term result.
So true, so true, so true. Those words of wisdom. Once again, thank you so much, Sean, with all the information that you've been dropping over the last 10 weeks.
You got it.
Like if you haven't watched them, go back through it, watch those videos, and you're going to gain a big perspective on what's going on in your life and how you can change it and get that mindset and get to where you want to go, right? So once again, check out We Give 110 on Facebook, or you can check out either Carrie or I's Facebook pages as well. You can also check out YouTube with We Give 110. You'll be able to get all those videos. Sean's page as well. they're posted there as well. So you can check those out. Equibala.com. Once again, go there. You can get free health, fitness, food, recipes, mindset resetting, all those wonderful things, all for free. No charge, because Sean wants to help you out. Of course, if you want to get into the bigger program, you can take that, and there's even more information in there that'll help you out. If you're looking for getting your businesses going, getting straight on your life, where you want to go, not just in health and fitness, but also in your personal relationships and stuff like that, you can always reach out to We Give 110 and get your personal success journal. We're going to be changing this up a little bit. Version 3 is going to be coming out once we get around to fixing a couple of things. Then you'll be able to get that. I'm not going to say the word app, but maybe. Maybe something like that coming. We're looking into that. There's going to be a couple of changes. Once again, this is the end of season 1 with our expert talks, but we're going to be talking with Sean about where he would like to go and what he would like to do with us for maybe season 2. And then, of course, it's going to be summertime, so it's going to be a little bit less of us jumping out there in front of you all the time, because people want to take vacations, and we want to, take that time to ourselves sometimes and build some other things, which a lot of you will probably be seeing popping up in your threads. We're going to be talking a little bit more about the business aspect from Carrie and I, taking some of those ideas of mind reset and getting in the right idea in your head about your businesses and your own home, and getting yourself out of the situation that you might be in financially. Sometimes it's a lot easier than you think. It does take work, though, so don't think this is a get rich quick kind of thing. But once again, go to We Give 110 on Facebook or on YouTube. You'll be able to get those in there. You can also check us out on Instagram. You have Instagram as well, Sean? Or
I do. Instagram.com/Equabala.
Equabala, there we go. See, gotta get it out there, get the word out, and get it all to your friends. So if you have any questions about any of the stuff that Sean was talking about today, please feel free to leave a comment in any one of the streams, and we'll get back to you. And I hope that you all have a great week. And thank you all for sticking through and seeing us to the end of Season 10 with Sean, or Season 10, Episode 10, Season 1 with Sean. Sean, any parting words of wisdom or...
Yes, I'm very excited about the progress we made on this season. Very much looking forward to next season and some of the big things we got coming out with Equabala and We Give 110. So don't leave if the frequency changes a little bit. It's because we're building up something bigger for you guys to get involved in. So make sure you stay on point here with us, and we got some good stuff coming.
All right. So with that, I'm going to throw out the outro. And we hope that everybody is going to be having a great summer, and we'll be talking to you very soon.